Teresa, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Michelle Wyckoff. Ms. Rita Weeks.
Here.
Mr. Ronald Thies.
Here.
Dr. Yummy Pandolfi.
Here.
Mr. Michael Lazio.
Here.
Ms. Lori Lemunion. Ms. Noel Stepp. Dr. Susan Wilson. Mr. Gordon Cook. Ms. Joycelyn Tucker Burgo. Mr. Robert Johnson.
Here.
Miss Joycelyn Tucker Burgo. Here. Miss Marcy Gregg. Here. We have a quorum.
Thank you. For those who wish, you'll have the pledge and invocation.
Join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So I'm going to read, since the time of year we're getting ready to celebrate Christmas this weekend, and such an awesome time. And so I want to read a passage out of Isaiah 9:6. It says, to us a child shall be born, to us a son will be given. The government shall rest upon his shoulders, his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. And then James 1:17 says, every good and perfect gift is from above, comes down from the Father of lights. And so the good and perfect gift is the Son of God, and he's been sent. And so if you'd like to pray with me. Father, we just are so grateful for this time of year, this season. You sent the greatest gift of all in your Son, and we thank you for that. As Lord, I just pray that for my own heart and for the hearts of all people, Lord, that they would receive this gift, open the gifts. It's great to open gifts, but this is the greatest gift, and we thank you for it. Amen.
Teresa, did you have a reflection that was sent? Do we have a reflection that was sent to put on the screen?
Can you go to the next slide? Was there a restriction put into the presentation?
I don't have anything.
That's okay.
No.
We'll try to pick it up for maybe the next month. But the gist of it was some quotes by Ray Bradbury, who's certainly quite accomplished in the sheer volume of his works, and certainly, I'm sure, financial success too. But unlike a lot of writers who have degrees in creative writing or even MFA, he had no formal education after high school, and he credited every bit of his success to the fact that as a kid in grade school through high school, he just devoured every moment he could have while going into the library. And we'll pick that up next month, but I thought it was well worth reflecting on the tremendous goods the library can do, especially for those who are from the financial or other circumstances where they can't afford to maybe continue formal education. Well, let's jump into our agenda. First of all, as we pick up the meeting, most importantly, welcome back, Teresa. We miss you very much.
Yes, welcome back.
Yeah.
Okay, the first matter is our consent agenda. We have a motion to approve it.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
I'll second.
It's been moved and second that we approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, Teresa, will you call the roll, please?
Ms. Rita Weeks.
Yes.
Mr. Ronald Thies.
Yes.
Dr. Pandolfi.
Yes.
Mr. Michael Lazio.
Yes.
Joycelyn Tucker Burgo. Yes. Mr. Robert Johnson.
Aye.
Ms. Marcy Gregg.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Teresa, this is Lori Lemunion. I'm also on the call.
Aye. Okay. Lori, would you like to vote on that motion? Approval of the
Sorry,
agenda?
say yes. Yes, I heard you then, and I approve it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, the next matter is to approve the agenda for this meeting. May we have a motion for that?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Second.
I'll second the motion.
Any discussion?
I just have a point of clarification. We are now approving the consent agenda,
No, we just approved the consent agenda.
but we just approved
Pardon?
we just approved the regular agenda.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay. And then this would be for the consent agenda.
Okay. So maybe we have a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Well, Michael did just actually make that
I think
motion.
that
Can we
was
just
the
switch him
motion.
around?
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, Teresa, would you call the roll, please?
Sure.
Or vote.
Ms. Rita Weiss,
Here.
Dr. Yomi Pandolfi,
Aye.
Mr. Michael Lazio,
Yes.
Ms. Lori Lemunion,
Yes.
Ms. Joycelyn Tucker Burgo, Mr. Robert Johnson,
Aye.
Marcy Gregg, and Mr. Ronald Dees.
Yes.
Motion carried.
And I understand there are no visitors' comments, awards and recognition.
All right, well, we have a few things to mention here. First and foremost, we want to thank Trustee Lemunya for 3 years of service at the library. And I have the keys to a new Cadillac. Yes, Lori, you can come and claim those in my office. And also Noelle Stepp, we're congratulating her on 3 years of service to the Mid-Continent Public Library. Both have been just very supportive of library service, and we appreciate all that they've done for us. So thank you, Lori and Noelle. And next, we have an award here. That's a lovely award that we received from the Platte County EDC. And that is a Business Excellence Award. And they gave us an award, I think, 2 weeks ago for our projects in Green Hills and Riverside. It was a wonderful event. It was great to be acknowledged for all that we've done for Platte County, and also to return the thanks that all that they've done to support us. Met some wonderful people, and it was a great event. So those are our 3 awards.
Terrific, thank you.
Yep.
Any questions of our CEO? And financial reports.
Yes, thank you. Good evening. Jeremy Willets, Chief Financial Officer. The Finance and Audit Committee met and we discussed all of the financial reports in further detail, but we wanted to provide this summary or highlights for you tonight. Cody, if you want to flip to the next page. Starting with tax revenue, we've collected $671,000 more for the first 5 months of this fiscal year compared to the first 5 months of last fiscal year. It's just under a 36% increase. We don't really think that this is much other than just timing of when payments come in. A lot of it is due to delinquencies that some taxpayers are catching up on. So we're a little bit ahead of where we were this same time last year. Below that, I've just provided, for context, the 5-year chart of property taxes that have been collected, our budget for this year, and where we stand relative to that budget as of today. Moving on to the next slide. This is a brief summary of the cash flow projection that we presented to the Finance and Audit Committee. That full cash flow presentation can be found in that meeting packet. But we wanted to try to boil it down and hopefully help it be a little bit more digestible. We have 3 columns. The first column is what we've actually done. So that would be July through November, our actuals. The next are what we consider to be the months where your revenue predominantly is collected concerning the property tax, which would be December and January and a little bit of February. And then that last column is that final push to year end. So we began the fiscal year in the general fund with a little over $25 million in cash. We've collected $3.6 million in revenue so far this year. We've had expenditures of $33.9 million. which would make a deficit of just over $30.3 million. In addition to that, we've got the line of credit that we borrowed $3 million against. And then we have other, minor cash activities such as changes in accounts payable, changes in investments, things of that nature, so that our ending cash at the end of November is actually a negative 1.1 million. We do have other cash that the library is able to utilize until the majority of our revenue, as you see, starts to come in the month of December. We do believe that we'll be able to pay back the line of credit no later than the end of January. But we're hoping that, through December, as we get these collections from the three counties, the majority of our revenue, we'll be able to pay back that line of credit and shorten the duration of interest that we have to pay. The capital project fund is the other significant cash source. We started the fiscal year with $104,000. We've had just over 9 million. That was a transfer from the general fund. Per the budget, we've spent $6.1 million. So we have a surplus in the capital fund of 2.8 million. The other cash activity are changes in investments and accounts payable, et cetera. So we've ended the current month, with $974,000. There's a lot here to digest. I'd be happy to try and answer any questions that you all may have.
Ron, please. On the first, maybe more than your whole packet, but I was looking on the sheet before this one. I just had a question on collections from the three counties. In the month of December, did they all wait till the same period, like the end of the month, or are they dispersing funds periodically during the month of December?
We get most counties producing weekly, and I honestly have not looked.
That was my next question.
Last week.
How's December going? If you don't know that, that's fine.
But I've had some preliminary discussions with the finance staff, and we're pretty confident that we're going to be able to pay off the line of credit probably the first week of January. But we'll have that update in the next financial report.
So, yeah, thank you.
Okay, moving on to the next one. This is just a look at the general fund. We've, as I mentioned, collected 3.6 million. We've had 32.6 million in expenditures. And so we have collected about 6% of our budget relative to revenue, and we've spent just over 47% of our budget relative to expenses. As you can see, wages and benefits are around 42%. We have them all listed out there. So we wanted to show what the beginning fund balance was, where fund balance is at currently based on the $29 million, et cetera, of expenditures over revenue. Again, we fully anticipate that to flop in the next report, but much like the first page of this report, we wanted to provide some actuals of budget to actual comparisons for the last 5 fiscal years, the budget, and then where we are relative to the budget. If there aren't any questions, we've prepared the same information for the capital project fund. As I mentioned, we've collected 9.4 million. Most of that is a transfer from the general fund. Expenditures relative to Proposition L project is just over 6 million. 70,000 are the other expenditures that we currently have in the capital project fund. So we've spent 6.1 million, or roughly 37% of the budget. And we're currently about 3.3 million over revenue over expenditures. And then the last fund that I want to discuss with you all is the health insurance fund, the internal service fund that we have. This revenue is predominantly from the library paying health premiums on behalf of our employees, as well as the employees paying their portion of the premium. We've collected roughly 40% of our budget at 1.8 million. We've had expenditures of about 1.8 million, so we're really close to break even right now through the year, with our expenditures being about 39% of our budget expended so far this year. And again, the 5-year comparison for some context. Those are all of the comments I have prepared tonight. As I mentioned, we had other reports that we went through with the finance committee. I'd be happy to go through with you all as well if you'd like.
Question. Being the life of the library, I know January and February tend to be front-loaded with a lot of our expenses with databases and things of that nature. With us paying back the loan, how does that affect our front-end costs, and will it affect our front-end costs?
The short answer is it won't. If we don't have sufficient funds to pay off the line of credit, we'll just carry that another month. But we get about, I think, 90% of our revenue between December and January. So we should have enough cash. It really just comes down to timing when we receive the cash and when the payments are due.
Okay.
So we'll report out next month how much of that line of credit we were able to pay off and how much we have left, if any.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Jeremy. Committee reports, building committee.
Thank you. The early part of December, we had a special building committee meeting to discuss what's on our agenda this evening, dealing with the Harvey Jones building. Yeah, second page of our agenda. The Harvey Jones building is located on the property at the North Independence branch of 24 Highway and Independence. And I don't know if you've seen the building before. No, we had, and I'll talk about it. Well, between building and finance, we both had it. But regardless, I think the demolition of that facility there, and we're going to talk about it obviously in a few moments, but it's about a $55,000 expenditure to, again, demolish that building and some of the fencing around it and so forth. It's become a place, and we'll talk about later, that we don't have anything there. And yes, there are probably some people that spend the night there that we have a difficult time probably justifying why they're there, and that'll be discussed when we talk about it. The point being is that the committee did approve at that special meeting the approval of $55,000 for the renovation or the demolition, and then it's now moved to the finance committee, which I know you'll call for that next. So the building committee did approve that it should be demolished. That's all.
Okay, any questions? All right, thank you, Bob. Finance and Audit Committee.
I think I'm taking that one also because Gordon's not here.
Okay, great, thank you.
Basically then, because you've seen on our agenda that the financial statements have been just discussed by Jeremy. So the other thing is that then the Finance and Audit Committee did actually approve the $55,000 expenditure for the demolition of the Harvey Jones building on our campus at the North Independence Library.
Any questions? Okay, thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Quick question, would we need to also approve that as both those items as a whole board?
Yeah, that's on the agenda.
Fundraising? Fundraising and development.
Marcy or Diana, do you have anything to add, or?
Well, just to say that we did not have a quorum of healthy people to meet at a meeting we had proposed for last week, and so we've rescheduled that. Fresh remembering this, was it the 16th that we?
We actually haven't rescheduled the date because we're still trying to figure out.
Okay.
Date items we have.
We are
Probably
rescheduling.
the end of January.
Yeah, but unfortunately, 'tis the season for all of the stuff going around, so. But I had the opportunity to sit down with Diana and Aaron and received a binder of wealth of information to bring me up to speed on the foundation and the fundraising committee. We had a good conversation about what it's done in the past and where it's moving, and so I'm looking forward to having that meeting with the members of that committee and moving forward, so.
Thank you, Marcy. Any questions? Then on to a personnel committee.
Nothing to report as of now. We will be meeting in January, however. Well, we'll be bringing, possibly, and then we'll be bringing items we talked about before to the
Sure.
board.
Okay. Thank you, Joyce. And Technology Committee? And
We did We did not meet this month. This is Lori. We did not meet this month, and so I have nothing to report.
Okay, thank you. And the librarian's report.
All right. Let's see here. I'm going to do an employee spotlight today. Be Love. In addition to having a magnificent name, she's an amazing employee. She's our technical services manager here in the headquarters building. Bee's been with the library for over 2.5 years. And Heather Hamilton, one of Bee's direct reports, says that Bee is an excellent leader and believes in the team she leads. She's caring and compassionate and knows how to empower her employees to believe in themselves, play to their strengths in a way that benefits the library system. She's skilled at communicating with her team and implementing our ideas to improve our department and customers' library experience. Susan Ray, our lovely deputy director, she agrees. She says,
Wholeheartedly.
yeah, Bee's ability to build and lead a team is one of her many talents. She streamlined the workflow to ensure that items are delivered to the branches as quickly as possible. She diligently works with vendors to ensure we receive what was ordered and that those items are processed correctly. She can see the bigger picture and how technical services fits in and continues to be an asset to MCPL. So, a little insider baseball when it comes to our profession. The ability to be skilled at technical services, cataloging and material processing, but also be a big picture thinker at the same time is unique, right? Because that area of our profession draws people who are very focused on the details. But when you're looking for management at the big picture level, sometimes it can be hard to find. But having those two skills together is really unique, and we're very grateful for Bee's service to the library. So thank you, Bee. And that actually, soon I will bring someone from technical services here because we always highlight public services staff, but books really are what makes the library move forward. So we will make a point of bringing a representative there to speak. All right, so Cody, next slide. All right, so before you have the MCPL monthly, which is gives you kind of an update on our construction projects. Our team went out to Riverside and East Independence this month, and both are moving along. It's amazing how quickly they move. And I got to say, Riverside is shaping up to be just a magnificent branch. We made some adjustments there. And I mean, both locations, it's going to be fantastic and just a great place to meet and check out books. Also, it is our custom to highlight some of the events that happened in our neighborhood branches. I do want to draw attention to the work that the Smithville branch staff did with an employee who was in desperate need of proof of residency. So this customer recently stopped in the Smithville branch. She was traveling from out of town, needed to have her child admitted for medical care, but couldn't do so without her proof of residency. Having been directed to complete the process online, she found her way to the Smithville branch where staff assisted her with the technology necessary to prepare the documents. The customer later wrote back in regard to the staff, "Trust me, I was at my wit's end. I just wanted you to know how much I appreciated their kindness and patience." Meeting those needs in real time goes a long way, and it's hard to place a value on it, but clearly for this woman, it meant a lot, and we made her day go a little bit better. So thank you to the staff of the Smithville branch. And that, I think, is pretty much everything I have. I encourage you all to read this cover to cover and look at the new hot titles that are racing out the door. And I think, Cody, we can move on to our next agenda item. We do have a guest this month who will speak on the next agenda item, new business. So that will be our guest speaker. So I'll turn it back over to you and then let Justin say a few words.
We have a guest speaker.
Well, yeah, but he'll speak on this next topic.
Okay, our next matter is the Harvey Jones Building at the North Independence Branch, and
Yeah.
Who will be addressing this?
Dustin? So we've talked about this issue at length in various committees, but I thought it would be a good idea to have Dustin come here and just give us an overview, a short overview of what's going on at North Independence and why it is that we're bringing this matter before the board. Dustin?
All right. Well, hello, everybody. I'm pretty sure everybody's familiar with who I am. Just in case you're not, I'm Dustin, the security director at Mid-Continent. We're going to talk briefly about the Harvey Jones building that is located at our North Independence branch. If you're not familiar with where that is, it's right across the street from the Truman Library on 24 Highway. We have a very large population that utilizes that branch. Every single day, we have people in and out of that library system, or that library through the doors, that use our services for a multitude of different things. The one thing that we're experiencing is some unique challenges when it comes to having the Harvey Jones building at the front of the property. You can see I've highlighted a few of them here. One of the main concerns that we are dealing with is from a security standpoint. That facility is very old, meaning it takes specialty equipment that requires us to maintain and actually order. In order to keep that building secure, it's on a separate security system from the regular main facility. It actually, some of the systems that are in there are antiquated, they're outdated, and they need to be replaced. So in order to do that, we would have to go in and retrofit and actually spend a significant amount of money into a building that, Bob, you were just talking about a few minutes ago, we don't have anything in. And there's separate door locks, there's reinforcements that are needed. And one of the main issues that we are having is that there have been a multitude of attempted break-ins to the facility because it is a house, for lack of a better term. It looks like a modular home. It is attractive for someone who's experiencing homelessness or someone in the area that wants to vandalize or do something unsavory. It is a magnet for that type of behavior. And so one thing that being able to get rid of that will allow us to not just move away from that type of behavior, but it also opens up our line of sight from 24 Highway into our branch. That's one thing that's very hard to see is the line of sight from 24 Highway. It blocks, this Harvey Jones building blocks a lot, and it especially blocks the entire section, which is our youth side. So allowing that and being able to freely see out back to the highway and back to our parking lot will really help us a lot. Right now we have a lot of security cameras and things in that area that we have to specially position to look around and to get around that. We spend a lot of time cleaning up trash and other things to make it still presentable to the community, but if that building weren't there, it would allow us to focus on other things. So this is really the main highlights that I wanted to bring to your attention today as to why this has become such a topic of conversation to move forward and why we want to get rid of that and open that space up for the rest of the community. So are there any questions? Do any of you have any questions that you want to ask me why I'm up here? Does this all make sense?
Yep. Yeah. If you could go back to, I think you went on the budget port. Yeah. Those are the items that obviously we're going to do with the demolition, but what's important is the sod. We're obviously not going to leave just dirt out there. It's going to be leveled off, sodded in green space at this point until we decide what we want to do with that portion of that property.
If I just could add, I'd say a couple months ago, we were notified by this Richie and the CX team that there were some security concerns at the North Independence branch. And Teresa and Richie and a few others gathered kind of a working group together to address these needs. So this is one piece of it, but I think our response to it is a perfect example of what it takes to respond in real time to the needs of our staff and the public. So Dustin and his team played a key role. Brian helped out. The list is Richie and Teresa. Everyone just kind of put their hands together and made adjustments that I think made improvements to the quality of life inside the branch. So thanks goes out to all of them for all the work they did there.
Right. Well, thank you all for your time.
Thank you, Dustin.
Thank you, Dustin.
before we proceed to vote on this, are any further questions for either our CEO or Dustin?
I do think there were more slides, though.
Yes, I was just there. Pictures of the,
Yeah.
yeah, they're there. That will ultimately get you a look at, if you go down those, it'll show the building on different sides.
And I can show you a couple of points of interest that have become issues for us and for the security team. If you would go back one, please. This is a large area between the existing Harvey Jones and the library facility itself. And the front doors would be actually located right here. We have a large issue of individuals that come in here and have attempted to set up different encampments, and we collect a lot of trash and issues that come in through this area. And there's also a set of doors on the ground level on this point here that have caused for a lot of attempted break-ins. So that's a lot of where our break-ins are attempting to come from.
Please, Joycelyn.
I was on the board when we actually purchased this property, and it was part of our expansion of what used to be the old genealogy space to make it now the youth center part of it. And part of the reason why this property was acquired was, one, it was available, and two, so that we could control as we encroached upon the property, so that we can control that area. So this was one that we tossed around as to a use for it, but there was never a use for it. It's been more of a nuisance. And I'm concerned about safety, both for people who are encamped there and for the youth who go into that entrance, so that people feel safe. So I would be very much in favor of demolishing it.
Hey, this is Lori Lemunion. Could I ask a question, please? So I appreciate that. I know that like the City Union Mission is like looking for some of their family, like a family shelter. Is this something that could be turned into a family shelter, which would bring more families to the library in that area, as opposed to having an expense that could be maybe sold or presented to the mission, and then they would be able to fix up the building?
Well, I mean, we've never done a full study of the building, but I have been inside, and I would say that the cost of renovating that building would probably exceed what it would take to build a new structure in that plot of land. I mean, it really is, old office space.
It's got hazardous waste in it. It is full of asbestos. So we have to remediate it before we can even take it down. The ceiling tiles are falling in because it's been empty for so long. And as Dustin has pointed out, people have broken the windows. We've replaced those more than once. So I don't know that, and I don't know that it would be big enough of a space for City Union Mission for families. I mean, it's a good sized building, but it would not accommodate, I don't think, very many families as well as staff.
All right, well, thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Please.
Marcy Garang. So I shared with the building committee that this building is actually really right in my neighborhood. I'm really excited, and I know that the neighborhood's going to be excited to see this taken down for a number of reasons, and one of those being the safety of course, and I can attest to this. Every morning I drive my son to Christmas to school, and it's about at that time in the morning when the homeless folks are rustling out of wherever they slept in the night, and a lot of them are moving in and around this space. It's not uncommon for us to see that in the mornings. So I know that makes staff certainly feel unsafe in the mornings when it's dark, especially, and patrons. This is my library, so I go in there and they do serve maybe a little more unique population than some of our other libraries, which is important. But making sure that our neighborhood and our patrons are safe and our staff is paramount to the idea of maybe repurposing it for something like a homeless, that seems to maybe be a point of conversation just because of the community that's there. I would say that's a big lift in this neighborhood anyway, because it would require rezoning for special use to that this neighborhood would not at all support. We're sensitive to the need for services, but this is a location that is in I cited the Truman Library and other services that were working very hard to protect this community asset. So I'm excited that we're going to clear the building. It's served its purpose. It's been useful for years. And it's time to now make a new space that part of the community can be proud of. Yeah, so green space for the time being till we sort that out is a blessing. I know the neighborhood will thank us for making them feel safer.
Thank you.
And just one more thing, it's, to what you said too, it's important to remember that this building sits in the middle of our property. Yeah, so it's like if it has any other space, it's going to be in the middle of it. It's not like adjacent to, it's
Right.
in the middle. So it will impede our ability to do anything else. So it's not like we want to sell it off because it's our space. It's like an L and it's right there on the corner. So and to Dustin's point, line of sight from the street is very important for things like our lit up festival and some of the other things, to have that green space that you can expand into. Yeah, it's an expense, but it gives us a whole space that we can also utilize for this purpose.
Great comments, thank you. Any other questions or comments? If not, do we have the resolution? Okay. Maybe we have a motion to approve the resolution.
I'll second.
Second, any discussion, further discussion?
Yes, I moved for that. So.
Okay. So it's been moved and seconded that we approve the motion as presented on the screen. Teresa, would you call the roll, please?
Ms. Rita Weese?
Approve, yes.
Mr. Ronald Dees?
Yes.
Dr. Yummy Pandolfi?
Yes.
Mr. Michael Lazio?
Yes.
Lori Lemunion?
Approve.
Ms. Joyson Tucker Burgo?
Aye.
Mr. Robert Johnson?
Aye.
Ms. Gray?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right. I'm gonna go backwards on this one. So January 15th is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. All library locations will be closed in honor of that day. January 1st, again, and December 31st, the library will be closed for the New Year's holiday. And lastly, the 24th and 25th. So that would be Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. And so if I don't see all of you before the holiday, I just want to wish you a very Merry Christmas. And I hope you have a wonderful, joy-filled holiday. And that's it. Oh, well, there's also some very exciting board meetings happening on. There's other things that you can see. There's finance committee personnel and building committee eventually, so. But again.
I think building is scheduled for the 28th. I don't believe we're going to have a meeting on that.
All right, yes. So we will update that. Right. The 28th of what, December?
December.
Oh, on your agenda that's listed, right, but on here, yeah, we've,
Go on.
yeah, we erased it. Good, so, all right. Unless, of course, the audience wants to meet informally.
It doesn't matter. I won't be able to, I'm sure.
Right. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Comment?
Trustees' comments, please.
Yeah, well, I was by the Riverside branch today and drove around the whole building and kind of drove through the parking lot to see how the drive-up window would work and all of that. And they're really coming along in that building. I mean, it's rocking and rolling. It's coming along. It's looking good, really good. So,
I agree.
yep.
That's it. Other trustees' comments? I just might add, when Aaron mentioned the services at the Smithfield branch for somebody to confirm their proof of, or confirm residency, that I think triggered many instances in which libraries are just so much more than warehousing and curating books. When the library made the presentation to the Clay County Commission, Michael Egelman, who is the branch manager for the Antioch branch, mentioned a similar instance in which somebody was extremely frustrated trying to get some information, some impossible technical coding type stuff, and she was very frustrated, which I would understand. The library assisted her, and the matter she was trying to address was the transfer of medical records for an immediate deadline for her husband's cancer treatment. And it's a sort of services which are just so, so relevant and meaningful, but will never make the newspapers, but just happen all the time as every branch. Other comments?
Mr. Chairman,
Please.
just Marcy Gregg, just real quickly, we had the book opening in Green Valley. I shared that with a number of friends, and I shared it on Facebook with some other friends, and I had several people that they were friends of mine. I didn't even know they lived in Green Valley. I thought they were close in, that they would comment and what a beautiful library it is, how grateful they are to have that open, and that just wanted to express their thanks. And so it is beautiful, beautiful building.
Really is. Thank you. I said that was my last comment. Actually, this is my last comment. On the, what you heard on monthly, there was a presentation Marcy and I had a chance to attend with family members. And I think it illustrated that just the broad scope of services, in this case, was done by the Culinary Center. And again, it's money well spent and very enjoyable too. Any other comments? If not, maybe we have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
A second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.